There are some parts of scripture that are really hard to contend with, and today's reading is one of those. The story of Dinah is layered with so much sadness. We see Jacob continuing to disregard Leah and her offspring in his response to Dinah being violated by Shechem. Dinah's brothers are rightly enraged, and we can see their tension building against Jacob. And yet, following in Jacob's footsteps, we see his sons deceive Shechem, his father, and all the men of their town into circumcising themselves. Then, as their wounds are healing, Simeon and Levi slaughter all the men, and the other brothers plunder the town. It's worth noting that part of God's promise and directive to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob has been that they will be a blessing to others, and all the families of earth will be blessed through them and their descendants. But, as God rightly pointed out, Jacob has wrestled against God and man and prevailed. And we see here with Jacob's sons that they are wrestling against man. Now, of course, their outrage and anger towards Shechem was completely warranted, but here they take vengeance on an entire town. Now, God intervenes on behalf of Jacob and his family, but I think it's important to note that God intervening does not mean that he approves of the deceptive and brutal actions of Jacob's sons, but it is evidence that God is true to his promise even when we wrestle against him. And Jacob finally realizes this, teaching his son that God has always answered his prayers when he's been in distress and has been with him wherever he's gone. Jacob's statement reminds me of Psalm 139. If I make my bed in Sheol, there you are. And so even though Jacob has made his bed in darkness and sin, God has been with him. And God will continue to be with Jacob's sons, even on that same bumpy road. In chapter 35, we see the state of Jacob's family deteriorating. Jacob's inaction in the face of hard things is sowing disrespect in his sons. Here, when Reuben sleeps with Jacob's concubine, just like in the situation with Dinah, Jacob does nothing about it. Also, Jacob has sown seeds of favoritism that have pushed his sons away. And we see Jacob carrying that favoritism out with Benjamin. As Benjamin is born, Jacob loses Rachel, and shortly thereafter, his father Isaac dies. Isaac's death brings Jacob and Esau back together, and we learn more about Esau's family. Esau's descendants went on to become kings who ruled the land of Edom. The relationship between the Edomites and the Israelites will be a tense one, just like Isaac predicted after Jacob deceived Esau. But through it all, God remains the God who sees. Whether his people decide to make their beds in Sheol or heaven, he is with them wherever they go.